Hello peeps, welcome to my channel. Hope you are enjoying my stories. In a small, scorching town surrounded by nothing but heat, there was a man named Joe. Joe was known as the Storyteller because he had a strange gift. Every night, he'd dream about the hot, empty town, which was desert filled with rusty old bicycle buried half inside, and every morning, he'd write these dreams down. One night, Joe dreamed of a man who looked like he was from another time, wearing old, dusty clothes. This man came out of nowhere, riding a motorcycle that made a lot of noise. He told Joe to come with him. After Joe woke up and wrote this down, his house suddenly fell apart around him. He was standing in the very desert he had been dreaming about. The man from his dream came up to him and asked him to follow. Joe was scared, but he wanted to know more, so he followed. They rode through the desert, and as they went further, it got darker, and the stars seemed to fade away. Then, the ground started shaking. Strange creatures that looked like they were made of bike parts and human parts came out of the sand. The creatures that emerged from the trembling desert ground were a nightmarish blend of machinery and flesh. Their bodies were a patchwork of rusted bike parts, wheels for torsos, chains for sinews, and handlebars twisted into grotesque limbs. Their skin, a mosaic of human features, stretched taut over cold metal frames. Their faces were the most horrifying, a jumble of human expressions frozen in eternal screams, eyes that were once vibrant, now replaced with the glassy lenses of bike headlights. They moved with a jerky, unnatural motion, as if each step was a struggle against the sand that birthed them. Their mouths, if they could be called that, were jagged openings lined with sharp, metallic teeth, remnants of bike gears that clicked and clacked as they opened and closed. It seemed as though they were hungry, not for food, but for the terror they could instill in the hearts of those who dared to venture into their domain. Joe's terror was palpable as these abominations encircled him, their forms casting twisted shadows on the sand. The air was filled with the sound of grinding metal, the stench of oil and decay, and a palpable sense of dread that hung over the scene like a shroud. They closed in on Joe. The man turned to Joe, pulled down his hood, and showed a face that looked like an older, more tired version of Joe's. The man said, "Write if you want to live." So, Joe wrote. He wrote about how he fought off the creatures, how he dodged their snapping jaws and spinning wheels, and how the man's cloak moved like a dark flag in the fight. He wrote as if his life depended on it, because it did. Just when the creatures were about to attack, Joe stopped writing. He looked up and saw he was back in his house, with the morning sun coming in through the window. His pages were full of what he had written about the scary night. But something was different. Joe felt a strong connection to the desert. He knew he wasn't just a man who wrote about his dreams. He was now the keeper of the desert's secrets, the writer of its scary stories, and someone who had survived its dangers. He knew he would have to face more ghosts and scary things in his future dreams, but he was ready. He wasn't just a dreamer anymore. He was a fighter, a survivor, and the one who tells the story of the haunted desert. Thanks for watching and listening. Please subscribe my channel. If you like my stories, give me a like, and if you want second part of this story, please comment.